For the past 8 seasons, his son's safety and future has been the sole motivation behind Rick's every decision. Going forward, that motivation will have to be to honor his memory. It's the death of Carl Grimes on this week's The Walking Dead, Season 8, Episode 9. Honor. What, too soon? Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of The Walking Dead. So yes, as usual, spoilers are ahead. We're all honoring Chandler Riggs' passing this week. This is how I do it. I take a little bit of Carl, but then myself. Look, after we discovered at the end of the mid-season finale what had happened to Carl, Scott Gimple had mentioned that this episode, the mid-season premiere, would be the finest acting that Chandler Riggs has ever done. And that is completely true. This was Chandler's episode really from beginning to end. From the moment's cascade of emotions coming over his face as he realizes that he's been bitten, to truly enjoying and embracing his last day, all the way up to his final goodbyes. Chandler really made the most of this opportunity to show everything that he has learned over the past 8 seasons. If this kid needs an actor's reel for his resume, all he's got to do is point them to this episode. And he wasn't the only one, of course. We have Denai Guerrero, Michonne, fresh from kicking butt on Black Panther. Hope you guys have all seen it. It's amazing. Really showing her acting chops here as well. Really what stood out, just those early moments there when they're doing that shot of what we find out is, of course, her digging the grave for Carl. That breakdown of emotion, that complete drop of everything. I mean, there was so much really throughout this of Denai's doing. It was just beautiful. And of course, Andrew Lincoln, as always, bringing it, showing depth, the character really portraying that emotion at stages of him losing his son, talking about saying goodbye, not being able to complete sentences, to those final moments of honoring and appreciating and embracing that moments. It's just really, this was a beautiful opportunity for everyone to really show their stuff. Chandler primarily, and everyone certainly brought that to the fore. One of the other things that we also dealt with in the opening sequence, which I thought was nice, was the idea of what would you do on your last day alive. And I think Carl does everything right. From writing letters to say goodbyes, to embracing new friends, to spending moments with family, those scenes with Judith there on the porch and decorating paint and taking little selfies, just creating memories, to sowing for the future, that moment of digging the tree there, of planting the tree, setting things up for the world to come. Even that just moment of looking up and embracing the sunlight on the face. Really, the question of what would you do on your last day, this is it. He did everything right. I think that was a beautiful presentation of kind of catching us up to speed on how Carl did spend that day. Now, we did find out a couple of extra things this episode. One, the dream of a better tomorrow that we've been seeing bits and pieces of old man Rick with his beard. Wasn't Rick's dream. This is Carl's dream, which sort of explains, or explains away, depending on one's point of view, why we saw Carl in the beginning of the dream, and then seeing as things go on. We got to see, of course, Jerry, Sadiq in it, and Eugene, which was kind of a bit of a surprise moment there. But again, it explains all these because Carl this is his vision of tomorrow. This is how he believes that the world could be, which is why that last little scene we see of the dream is Negan being there. Why? Because that is part of Carl's dream. That does completely make sense. He wants a better world for everyone tomorrow. And as much as he conflicts with Negan, they do have a certain connection. We have seen that throughout the episode, or throughout this season, and even the last season as well. So it makes sense, you know, and actually I kind of like that. It does show the possibilities of the world. And in a way, how we keep seeing the line from Rick, my mercy has prevailed over my wrath. We saw it at the beginning of the season, we see it at the end, mid-season, we saw it again repeated here. I do believe that's probably his response after the war of possibly letting Negan go. So maybe not embracing into the new community, but maybe not necessarily fodder for the past. The other thing we find out is what happened at the sanctuary, which really annoyed me. I'm going to say that straight out. Okay, look, my belief was that the snipers were to shoot any of the saviors that poke their head out so they can't kill the walkers that are in the courtyard. That was my understanding of what their whole purpose was. Now, of course, we have Daryl breaking down the wall and letting a bunch of the walkers in, but still a whole bunch outside. Still something to prevent the saviors from coming out. So the fact that Morgan just watches them and shoot and doesn't do anything and lets them create a whole pathway for them, the guys, to come out and shoot at them. I guess, of course, Morgan had through all of this at some point given away his position, so they were able to shoot right at him. But that really annoyed me. I mean, what do we see now? What Eugene's big plan when he sneaks up and talks up to Negan at the beginning of the season here, says, all right, this is my plan. We send up some guys and through the window, we shoot the walkers and then we walk out. That's my big plan. It's going to use all our ammo. No, they thought this was going to be complicated if we heard gunfire inside and then out, and then he tried to shoot, but it wasn't enough. I mean, make something out of it. But the fact that that whole plan failed because the snipers didn't do their job, I don't even know what to say about that. Now, the rest of really the Alexandria stuff was Carl's goodbye. And again, nice moments there, I think peppered really throughout. I liked when Carl is telling Rick, you know, that he got bit. You could see Rick having that conflict, wanting to blame the saviors, the world, everything around. How they had Carl continually saying, I got bit. I got bit. It just happened. I got bit. It's reinforcing that reality. And again, it just happened. Not blaming anyone. It's just the circumstances of this world. I enjoyed that moment. I thought it really helped from a character standpoint focus Rick and keep him from blaming everyone else. We had a nice little moment there with Dwayne, how when Michonne is understandably freaking out with the bombardment going on over their head while the emotional death of Carl is happening. But Dwayne stepping up and really saying, it's like, look, we got to stick to it. We can't leave here. They will kill us. We've got to hold on. This is the plan. They don't want to destroy anything. They don't have enough ammo. We need to hold on. I thought that was really good to give Dwayne a good, strong character moment of being right there, of really showing how he is part of the group, though we do all still expect either Rosita or Daryl to take him out when this is all done. Beginning to like you, Dwayne, but your days are probably numbered, as everyone's is, really, in this show. All the goodbye sequences were nice. I love Daryl mentioning back to Carl, you know, that reinforcement. All these people are alive because of you. This was your plan. Sadiq, a doctor. That's some extra good information to hear that. And I loved how Rick and Sadiq they went on again. You have the moment of Sadiq offering to help, of Rick needing Michonne to give that okay, of Rick even through that, oh, of a doctor, is this why you made the choice? No, we just needed help. Again, all this circumstantially good, but reinforcing that Sadiq to have a position going forward. Certainly by the time that he left with that wonderful goodbye to Carl about honoring, hence the title of the episode, his memory and bringing that forward. Really got the feeling that he is part of the family there. It was a great moment. All those goodbyes, I think, were all very strong. Now, taking him to a church to die, I gotta say, I did think that was a bit on the nose. Maybe a bit much. They're trying to take it to a house, but the church happens to be just closest. I mean, I understand the symbolism on that, but like I said, maybe just a little bit too much on the nose. Now, over in the kingdom where we get the rest of the episode, we have Carl and Morgan going back for some revenge. And I gotta say, I love that opening bit where, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the character's name, is talking to Carol. And she's like, yeah, I gotta go get Ezekiel. And she's like, just you versus all of them? Yeah. They don't stand a chance. Yes, because it's Carol. Anyway, I thought that was perfect. Though I did, as soon as she didn't tell little Henry to make sure, she should have given him a job. You have to protect these people. You have to watch out for them. That's your job. I mean, little Henry was great with the, Morgan taught me the stick, you taught me the gun, I can help out. The minute she didn't give him a job and just wandered out, I knew Henry was going to follow her. It's expected. But Morgan coming in, I loved him seeing little Henry running across the screen there. But yeah, once you see that Morgan and Carol are going up against the Saviors, it was like, these guys are done. We really see a lot of the fallout of, the fall of Morgan, kind of, or the fall back of Morgan into kind of the moral psychotic. Little stabby in this episode, for sure. Definitely Carol is starting to worry about him. Not only just killing people, but kind of going out of his way to kill the Saviors. Definitely a bit of something to worry about. Certainly found out from Gavin's standpoint. Loved the little conversations with Ezekiel and Gavin. Gavin trying in a way to apologize for having to kill him. I liked you. You get it. You understood how the system worked. And then, even getting more and more mad at him as things kind of sort of fell apart there. Anyway, it was just funny, especially how Ezekiel had looked at him and said, all these times I thought I was saving my people, but I guess I was saving your life no more. And that certainly does prove the case for Gavin. Again, he was trying to run a tight ship, but he chose to work for Negan. And in this circumstance, that's not going to fly. And for this week's, actually let me do it this way, Scene of the Week! Yeah, that looks a little better. Ha ha! We have our last little sequence of goodbyes. Rick and Michonne saying goodbye to Carl, who was talking about what things could be. And it's the scene of the week, not only just because of the importance of what they're showing, how far Carl has come over these seasons. The story of him shooting that kid over by the prison when he thought shooting and killing was the right thing, to explaining the story of how Rick put his gun away, brought in his enemies, just to show Carl that there was a different way, that this is now the lesson that Carl is trying to show Rick. The importance of this scene for Rick's motivation and everything going forward, I think, really paramount, really putting it down there. But what put this over the head as really the strongest scene is because how they contrasted this with Morgan pushing his own line. Can he be pulled back? Where Ezekiel and Carol trying to tell him, you don't have to kill Gavin. Even Morgan there thinking that he does. But it was a perfect, again, it was that perfect contrast of where Carl was and where Rick was, and how those things have shifted and changed, all of those decisions, to now looking back at Morgan, who has put his killing motivations away and now sort of re-embracing it, again, falling back into that dark, clear psyche of his. That there is that chance to come back, that there is a way to pull that there is a new future that can be born. So again, these were all both powerful scenes, powerful moments, especially when we see at the end, of course, Henry, needed to give him proper direction, Carol, ends up stabbing Gavin through the throat in the back. Yeah, again, not an unexpected maneuver there. Had a feeling that was probably where it was going to go. And I think maybe as dark as that was, that might have snapped Morgan into kind of really seeing how far things could go. That don't get blinded. Again, as Carl had said, you showed me that it could become so easy to fall into that darkness and to be able to try and pull back. So it was a great scene. It's really showing what the vision for the future that Rick is going to embrace, Carl's vision of tomorrow. Why that is, the importance, how that has really illustrated the breadth and changes that have gone on through Carl and all the characters over the seasons, and then especially compared to Morgan's own need to kind of pull back from that. In that sense, both Rick and Morgan need to pull back from their thirst for vengeance in order to build a tomorrow that everyone can live in. All right, just a couple of small things here. One, there was a beautiful camera shot done when Gavin calls out on the radio, of course, and nobody answers. You realize just how much trouble he's in. Where he gets everybody, all the rest of the Saviors, and grabs Ezekiel and pulls him into the auditorium there. There was that one constant shot which saw them all leave frame, and then it holds, and then we see Morgan and Carol stepping in. It was just a beautiful little moment. I love those bits of camera work. It shows how close things are, and really that encompassing, that encroaching danger. You're running away, and they're coming up after you. When Carl's saying goodbye to little Judith, man, that was just getting me right here. And he gave her the hat, of course. That was a perfect way to sort of continue things forward. And I love the line that, yes, you got to listen to your parents, but sometimes kids have to show parents the way. Isn't that true even today? In that final scene when Carl is talking about his vision for the future and Rick's breaking down, I'm going to make it real for you. All I was thinking in my head was, I'm going to make it real for you just as soon as I kill Negan. Okay, mercy hasn't quite manifested yet, but probably soon. Oh, that end scene where Carl takes himself out. I mean, perfect. It's right, because that's one thing I was wondering throughout the episode is, who's going to stab Carl in the head when it's all done? Can't really ask Dad, can't ask new Mom. Just none of it really seems right to ask anyone. So that he was willing to do that they had that in. Yes, it does, again, make Carl that man, that grown-up individual, and spares his family. So, I mean, they still had to go get the body with holes in it, but still, I like that choice. My one little criticism about the episode, I think it went on a little long. I think it could have been a little tighter. I know we had to say our goodbyes. I know we had to have all of those moments. But honestly, as it got towards the end, I thought it was dragging a little bit. Just could have been a little tighter. And finally, just a little bit of side news. One person we didn't see this episode is over at the Hilltop. Yes, Maggie. Lauren Cohen has just been cast in an ABC pilot. We don't know if that pilot's being picked up to series. We don't know if that series is going to last. We do know that she is accepted the pilot. She is shooting it. Now, if this does take and she does go, the shooting schedules will not conflict. She can do both shows. But considering the little surprise that was dropped on Chandler Riggs with his goodbye, is Lauren looking to get a little bit more pay? Is she seeing the writing on the wall and feeling, you know, in the world of The Walking Dead, no one is safe? And behind the scenes in production of The Walking Dead, no one knows if they're safe either. Maybe she just wants to try and get something safe in her back pocket. So, good luck to her, whichever it was. I hope she doesn't leave the show. I love Maggie here, but Lauren, totally understand where you're coming from. All right, so that's pretty much everything. Moving forward, it is a world without Carl. How is Rick going to move forward? I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of killing at first, and then maybe that mercy will in fact overcome his wrath. Going to be quite a season, or back half of the season. Everybody headed to Hilltop. Together? Yeah, together. They'll never know what hit them. That's right, Daryl. They'll never know. Really looking forward to seeing how this is all going to play out. Hope you will join me for all of these reviews going forward. And if you like this one, please go ahead and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, comments, throw those down in the section below. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Darren Jakes. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Quick, it's easy. You hit one button, you catch all these reviews Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Legion, Westworld, tons of stuff. Don't miss it. We'll throw up a couple of those reviews right there. Anyway, that's going to be it for me. Thanks again. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.